Assalamu alaikum and welcome to this episode in our nightly series Divine Messages, a journey through the Qur'an during this blessed month of Ramadan. Let's see what tonight's divine message has in store for us.
هو القرآن والفرقان إليه تنصت الأكوان وفيه تعطر الآذان والقرآن.
Abu Hurairah, may Allah be pleased with him, was very eager to invite his mother to Islam. However, his mother was very adamant that she would not accept Islam. Abu Hurairah was very upset. So he would persist and insist and keep going back and forth and back and forth. So one day he went to her and he was inviting her and trying to convince her and advise her that she should accept Islam. And she was very upset at him. So she looked at him and she cursed the Prophet ﷺ. Abu Hurairah was very, very upset. He felt that it was because of his insistence and persistence that his mother had cursed the Prophet ﷺ. So he went to the Prophet ﷺ and he said, "O Messenger of Allah, I'm very upset. I was trying to invite my mother to Islam and this is what happened and she ended up cursing you. O Messenger of Allah, please make dua, supplication to Allah that He guides my mother." And the Prophet ﷺ looked at Abu Hurairah and he raised his hands and he said, "O Allah, guide the mother of Abu Hurairah." And Abu Hurairah was ecstatic. Abu Hurairah went back home and he was sure, because the Prophet ﷺ had told him and had made the dua, that his mother would accept Islam. As he was approaching home, he heard some sounds inside the house and he noticed the door was slightly ajar. He got a little bit closer, then he heard his mother from inside saying, "Wait outside, Abu Hurairah." So he stood outside and waited. And then a few moments later, his mother emerged and he could tell something had changed. Her face was different. She had covered up. And she looked at him and she said, "I bear witness that there is no deity worthy of worship except Allah. And I bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is His last and final messenger." And Abu Hurairah was ecstatic. He couldn't believe it. Just a few moments later, his mother was cursing the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and here she was accepting Islam. And he was very happy with his mother. Years later, every time Abu Hurairah would meet his mother, he would say, "May Allah have mercy on you, O mother, for raising me as a child." And his mother would look at him and she would say, "May Allah have mercy on you for being kind to me as an adult."
ذكر وموعظة ونور فيه شفاء للصدور.
Another very interesting story is the story of a man by the name of Uwais ibn Amir. Now, Uwais ibn Amir was a man who lived during the time of the Prophet ﷺ, and I want everyone to focus on this story because it's an amazing story. This is a man who lived during the time of the Prophet ﷺ. He lived in Yemen, and he accepted Islam. But interestingly enough, he never had the opportunity to meet the Prophet ﷺ. Now, you can imagine, everyone who accepted Islam wanted the honor of being with the Prophet ﷺ, to be in his blessed presence. Yet this man was unable to see the Prophet ﷺ and never had a chance to see him. And it was because of very, very, very odd reason. And the Prophet ﷺ explained it in a hadith. He said one time, "You will meet a man by the name of Uwais ibn Amir." And he's telling this to his companions. And he said, "You will see this man, and when you see him, the reason he never met me," he accepted Islam, "and the reason he never met me is because he took good care of his elderly mother. She was in need, and he spent all of his time taking care of her. So if one of you," these are still the words of the Prophet ﷺ, "so if one of you meets him and is able to ask him to seek Allah's forgiveness for him, let him do so." In other words, if you meet this man is so righteous because of the extent to which he went to honor his mother. Ask him to pray for Allah's forgiveness for you, because if he asks Allah for something, Allah will grant it to him. Amazing. Can you just imagine? Because of the level to which he went to honor his mother, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepted all his dua and prayers.
ذكر وموعظة ونور فيه شفاء للصدور.
Honoring our parents, such an important concept, so important that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts it just second to worshiping Him and Him alone without associating any partners. Let's look at even honoring our parents if they are not even Muslims or believers. Ibrahim alayhi salam, when Ibrahim was inviting his father, who was an idolater, to accepting Islam, and his father threatens to kill him, how does Ibrahim respond to his father? He says, Ya abati, my dearest father. This is a man who's dealing with his father who's threatening to kill him. And yet, in spite of that, in that moment, he is dealing with his father in the kindest of ways. Human nature is for parents to give everything for their offspring, so they don't have to be reminded. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't necessarily go into that detailed explanation and enticement for parents to care for their offspring. It's mentioned in the Qur'an, but not to the same extent as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala goes to enticing us and reminding us of the value and the importance of honoring our parents. A man came to the Prophet ﷺ and he said, O Messenger of Allah, I carried my mom on my back while performing Hajj and going around the Kaaba. Have I fulfilled my rights toward her? In other words, have I paid her back for everything that she has done for me? The Prophet ﷺ said, not even for the pain that she suffered during labor when she was delivering you. Imagine that. All of that effort that the man went through, yes, you earned a great reward, but not enough. Significant. Insignificant compared to everything that his mom has done throughout her life. The Prophet ﷺ warns us, so it's not only an enticement to honoring our parents, but there's a very severe and stern warning when he talks in several ahadith, several of his sayings, when he says, shall I not warn you of the gravest of sins? And he mentions, in one hadith he mentions 7, in another one he mentions 10, and one of those gravest of sins is dishonoring the parents. So our divine message today is enticing us and encouraging us to honor our parents, to look after their needs. And honoring our parents isn't simply to say yes when they ask for something, isn't simply to respond to what they want when we are in agreement with them, but rather it is to accept everything from them, even if it is against our own desires, so long as it's not displeasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
ذكر وموعظة ونور فيه شفاء للصدور.
Our divine message tonight, وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا, and honor your parents.